on the Tuesday coaching, I'm actually going to be streaming this to a couple different platforms. But if you are not a part of our Discord, what you'll want to do is check out and pop over to our Discord at thinkunbroken.com/Discord. Boom. We're going to add that and see if anybody is watching live. So I'm very excited to be here with you guys. So the theme for tonight's conversation is very simple. It's kind of the baseline to everything that I think. It's what I believe to be at the really the crux of the entirety of why I created Think Unbroken. And it's more so than anything this: how to be the hero of your own story. So many people ask me all the time, they're like, where do I start? Where do I begin this process of healing, of becoming the hero of my own story, of ultimately creating the life that I want to have? And I always think about education being most paramount in this process. I think about education over everything, because if you are not educating yourself, then you are setting yourself up for failure. I know that's not what people always want to hear, but my goal here as your coach is to always be honest with you. And I'm going to be honest with you right now. If you don't educate yourself, you are setting yourself up for failure in life and business and relationships and careers and literally everything that you do. And I don't want you to be set up for failure. I want you to be successful. That's why I created Think Unbroken. That's why we do all of this. And so I thought to myself, what if every Tuesday night, 5 o'clock Mountain Time, whatever time you are in the other part of the world, that we came together and I spent half an hour with you coaching, educating, teaching, trying to help give you some baseline tools into what is next in your life. And this is about community. The biggest reason I want to do this, so if you don't know my mission is very simple. I want to end generational trauma in my lifetime through education and information. And since this is our first session together, what I'm going to do is tell you a little bit about myself and how I got to where I am today. So my background, and for the sake of this conversation, is pretty dark. So I just want to forewarn you. I'm going to keep it real. I'm going to keep it honest with you. And in this honesty, I'm going to share some dark truths because I think it's really important. So many people want to just show the glitz and the glamour and how great life is today, but I can tell you that for myself, life was not always good. In fact, for a very long time, life was a fucking nightmare. And I found myself at rock bottom a few times. I had someone ask me recently, they're like, how many times did you hit rock bottom before you changed your life? And I was like, every day for 10 years. Every day for 10 years. And that was part of this journey of just trying to figure this whole thing out. So guys, I want you, just so you know, if you are over in the Discord right now, there is a channel. If you go down, it is live coaching channel, and you're able to come in there and have conversations with each other as we go through this. And I hope that you'll do that. So if you go to the tab, it's community chat. And then if you go down to live coaching, you guys can have back and forth. So I'm going to just kind of say hello to everyone in here again. Feel free to chat here. If you are watching on social media, on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, YouTube, I don't know, wherever you might be watching, come and hang out with us over on Discord. Just go to thinkunbroken.com/Discord and you can join the channel, because we're going to be doing a lot more live coaching, a lot of fun events, and a lot of really cool things over there. And actually, one of the things I'm going to do right now is I'm actually going to go live over on Instagram, just one more platform. So bear with me a second while I go live over there, and then we'll get in. Next time, this will be a little more simplified. The first time is always rough. So hang with me. Boom. Boom. I'm going to go live. Should have my camera stand. I'm just completely not prepared. I'll be honest with you guys. Coming back from being sick for the last few days, everything is just a little bit off, but that is okay, because you know what? We said that we're doing live coaching on Tuesday nights, And damn it, we're doing live coaching on Tuesday nights, guys, for sure. So welcome everyone, wherever you are in the world today. I'm very excited to be here with you. And with this, what I want you to know and to think about here is if you're over in the Discord, just one more time, just raise your hand if you can hear me. I'll make sure you guys can hear me. Okay, cool. Yeah, so everybody can hear. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about my backstory, about how I got to where I am. If you're on Instagram, just hello, my friends. If you're on any other social platforms, thank you for being here. Michael over on Facebook, what's up, my friend? Gabrielle, what's up? Polly Pocket, what's up? And we got Jennifer and Kevin and Terry and Consugan, all kinds of people watching right now. So thank you guys for being here. So my backstory, first and foremost, we're going to be going live Tuesday nights, every Tuesday night, 5 p.m. Mountain Time going forward. This is my commitment. Much like the commitment I made to do 365 episodes of the podcast, I'm going to do weekly coaching here on social. So I'm very excited to be here with you guys. And thank you to everybody who's hanging out, who's watching. I hope that you're doing well wherever you are in the world today, my friends. And excuse me if I'm a little bit off and if my voice is a little hoarse. I spent the weekend being sick. So I'm happy to be back and no longer be sick. So the theme for tonight, and you guys are welcome to ask questions. If you're in Discord, you can raise your hand. If you're on social, just type it in the comments, and we'll get to questions here at the end this evening. How to be the hero of your own story. You know, this is the number one thing. How do you get to this place in your life where you're living life on your terms, where you're not letting trauma hold you back, where you're not letting the past hold you back, where you're not letting fucking naysayers and haters and people who want to bring you down hold you back? Like that's the thing. And then most importantly, how do you keep yourself from holding yourself back? Which, if you're like me, you probably have had a litany of those experiences of being like, wow, I totally let myself down today. And you know what? Often we beat ourselves up about that. But let me tell you, it's actually not that bad. Unless you like really, really destroyed your life or someone else's life, which you probably didn't. The thing that I want you to think about as we go into this conversation today is, how can you kind of simply just let go? How can you just kind of let go of the things that have kept you stuck? How can you let go of what it is that you have in your limited false beliefs and these ideas that you don't deserve the life that you want to have? Because so many people get caught up in this and like, man, my life was so bad. I fucked it up so badly. I've ruined everything. And so why should I get what I want in life? And my argument for that is, has, and always will be, I'm really glad that you fucked up. And I know that sounds weird and people are gonna be like, what? Why would you say that? The reason that I'm glad is because now you get to learn. And life is a series of iteration. Life is a series of taking small bits and pieces of experiences and trying to make meaning of them in a way that becomes long-term beneficial for you. And what happens all too often is people get stuck in this idea of like, oh, I made one mistake. Like if you've ever made a mistake, just comment yes. If you've ever made a mistake in your life, just comment yes. Be like, I made a mistake. Everyone here is going to comment yes, right? And so in that, what I want you to think about is, are you going to let those mistakes be the very thing that holds you back? Because if you are willing, let me phrase it this way. If you decide, if you make a fucking decision about being willing to not let your past be what dictates your future, you can have everything that you want in life. All of it. And so many people are so stuck in the past that they cannot find the future. And so how do you be the hero of your story? How do you be this person in your own life that is going to propel you, yourself, into what's next? Because guess what? Little insider secret, there ain't no Disney moment and nobody is coming to save you. And so if you're here and you're looking at your life and you're like, man, I wish somebody would come and fucking rescue me, I'm just telling you right now, it's just not going to work. They're not coming. Like, I hate to break it to you. I'm sorry. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but whatever you think is going to happen where your life is going to be magically rescued by somebody, it just ain't going down. I promise you it's not. But what you can do is take the tools, the learnings, the understandings, the iterations, the samples, and all of the lessons of your life and bring them into your playbook. And so when I think about this journey, about being the hero, it starts with acknowledgement. It starts with looking at your life and being willing to say, you know what? Yeah, I know how I got to where I am. That's always step one. And so, as we get into this, since this is our first Tuesday night coaching, and thank you guys for being here. Amelia, thank you for being here. Munchies, thank you. Tabby, thank you. Michael over here, thank you. Kevin, Terry, all of you guys, thank you for being here. My goal, my hope is we're a small group today on all the social channels. I'm hoping we get hundreds and hundreds of people here to be a part of this with us, because I want to really, really solidify this movement. And this movement is ending generational trauma. Is not, I don't, like, to me, I think about this, I'm like, I never want to have this conversation again. So let's do what it takes today to make these kind of conversations obsolete in the future. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about my backstory. If you guys don't know me, I want to share this with you because I think it's important. So I grew up in Indianapolis, in Indiana, in America, in the middle of America. They used to call it a flyover city. And I grew up in the 80s. My mother, who was a drug addict and alcoholic, she actually cut off my right index finger when I was only 4 years old. And people will always say, well, how could your mother do that? That's like the most terrible thing ever. And the thing I want to remind you of that I think is important as we step into this conversation is recognizing the truth that hurt people hurt people. You've probably heard this old adage before, right? Hurt people hurt people. Well, you know what, guys? Healed people heal people as well. And I've seen tremendous amount of change happen in the world. And so 4 years old, my mother cuts off my right index finger. She's a drug addict and alcoholic. She marries my stepfather when I'm 6, heading into 7. He's super abusive. Like, he's the kind of stepfather you pray is never your stepfather. He'd kick the shit out of my brothers and I, put me in the hospital multiple times. And I lived in constant fear as a kid. Like, the one thing that I know that many people have had traumatic experiences share in common is that our home was the most dangerous place that we could be. And because of that, the one thing that I always thought as a kid, I was like, man, I just want to be a grown up. Because when I'm a grown up, I won't have to deal with this anymore. And when I was 8 years old, we got evicted for the first time that I really remember. Now, I knew a little bit. My grandmother had always been like, yeah, you guys were living with us when you were like 3 and 4. But the first time I really remember is when I was 8. And we lived with 30 different families between 8 to 12 years old. Getting bounced around to strangers' houses, getting bounced around with friends, with family, with church members. Sometimes we'd be in vans, sometimes we'd be in church. Like, it was crazy, some of the places that we lived. And all this time, when I'm getting bounced around, I'm looking at the world and I'm thinking to myself, something about my home is off, because I see these people in these other homes being kind to each other. And that struck me as super strange. I was like, interesting. Why would they be kind to each other? But at my house, if I even ask for something I need, I get my head slammed into a wall. And one of the greatest discoveries that I had in that phase, like between 8 to 12, living with all these strangers, was that there are incredibly amazing people in the world. You know, I want to demystify that people are bad, because I just don't think it's true. Inherently, I don't think people are bad. I think people make mistakes. I think we screw up. I think we're not educated. I think that a lot of different things occur in our life, but I don't think people are inherently bad. What I do think is that people make mistakes. And so because of this, I'm exploring, I'm looking at the world. My grandmother adopts me when I'm 12. Now, you'd be like, oh, that's a godsend, right? Except I'm biracial, black and white, and my grandmother is an old racist white lady from a town in Tennessee you have never heard of. So now it's like I'm starting to step into this identity crisis. So not only do I have all the abuse as a kid, but now I can't be me. The thing that I've come to understand to be most true about childhood trauma and abuse is that it's not the scar, like it's not the finger getting cut off. You know what I mean? It's not that. It's not the burns. It's not the cuts. It's none of those things. The thing that childhood trauma does is it takes your identity. It strips away who you are. It takes everything that you know about yourself and it breaks it down. And what happens is your brain, here's what you have to understand about the human brain. It serves one purpose. Do you know what that purpose is? Survival. The human brain only cares about one thing, making sure that you survive, that you live long enough to procreate, to watch your procreations procreate. And that's it. That's the only service of the brain. And so what happens is when you're in these abusive situations, your brain starts to make meaning of them and it looks at them and it goes, wait a second, hold on. If I'm me, that's dangerous. So I'm not going to be me anymore because every time I'm me, there's pain, there's suffering, there's hurt. And since the brain's only service is survival, it says, okay, well, I need to live. So I'm going to stop being me. I'm going to stop showing up because when I stop showing up, I'm safe. And if you are safe in that context, then you'll spend, like I did, your entire life trying to be a chameleon so that you fit in, bending yourself, placating yourself, pretending to be someone else. Because the more that you are not you, the safer you are in the world. A really fucked up juxtaposition, right? You're like, damn, you mean every time I'm trying to be me, I get hurt, so I'm not going to be me anymore? Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. And so by the time that I was 13, I got high for the first time, drunk, and by the time I was 15, I was expelled from school because I was selling drugs, breaking into houses, stealing cars, getting shot at by the police. Like it was crazy some of the shit I was doing. And like I was keeping it under wraps because like the weird aspect of it is like I was just trying to do whatever it took to survive. Even though everyone around me, my teachers, my grandmother, some of my friends are like, you're running with the wrong people. But those wrong people for me were like brothers. I felt brotherhood in that. I felt community in that. And that's the thing that so many of us seek. It's like we need human connection. We want to be a part of something with people. Unfortunately, sometimes for many of us, that connection is traumatic and toxic people. So we find ourselves in this position where you're like, our friends are not people who want to see us succeed. And that's not their fault. Like sometimes it is, but generally speaking, especially when you're young, they're trying to do the same damn thing. You are only trying to be a part of something because in your home it's dangerous and you can't be you. And in the streets, it feels like this is where you're supposed to be until you realize the truth that it's not. And so I guess I'm at this point 16 and I get put into a last chance program. And I get this opportunity to graduate high school, to get a diploma. I was going to be in a position to actually be successful. So I get into this last chance program, which was actually sponsored by Goodwill. So if you guys know Goodwill, like go support those people because they're absolutely incredible for what they do for communities. And so I get sponsored by Goodwill. I get put into this last chance program. And at this time, I actually also put a restraining order on my mother and my stepfather. And my report card, I posted it a couple of months ago on Instagram. When I put a restraining order on my mother and my stepfather, I had straight A's because the toxicity was removed from my life. The pain, the suffering was removed from my life for a brief period. But I still did not graduate high school on time. And in fact, 3 days before graduation, my then girlfriend calls me. I'm at home, I'm stoned, I'm playing video games. And she's like, by the way, you're not graduating. And I was like, fuck. I'm going to be the one to not graduate. I'm going to be the guy. I'm going to be the guy in all of the schools and all of the places that it's almost impossible not to graduate from. I'm about to be that guy. So I get in my car, I drive to school, I go upstairs, Mr. Bush's classroom, upstairs, left corner of the building, Northwest High School, which is now no longer a high school. It's been defunded, unfortunately. I stand outside and wait for him. He comes out, and I go, how dare you fail me? And he says to me, I didn't fail you. You failed yourself. And then he said the most important thing that anyone has ever said to me in my life. He goes, what you need to understand about life is that you cannot get by on your charms and your good looks. If you want something, you have to earn it. And that changed my life forever. And it wasn't him failing me that hit so hard. It was him saying, you have got to take personal responsibility. He was the first teacher who believed in me. And the other was Mr. Hollingsworth, who was this amazing human being. So I had these two men in my life who believed in me, who I'll tell you right now, I would not be here without them. And it was through the suffering of the experiences of the ramifications of my choices that had led me down the path to recognize, you know what, maybe I could be successful. So I have to go to summer school that summer, and I'm super embarrassed. I'm embarrassed because I'm ostracized from my community and my friends. I got uninvited from every graduation party. Everyone told me I was a loser. I was the biggest loser. Literally, I was the biggest loser in the whole fucking school. It was so incredibly embarrassing because just a few months prior, I had been on the football team, captain of the wrestling team. I was dating a cheerleader, like all the things high school kids want. I had a job, I had a car, I was making money. I was also illegally making money, but I still was making money. And and I found myself in this position of like, holy shit, I am the biggest embarrassment in the school. But I started thinking about like, man, everyone had told me this was going to happen because all my mom and my stepdad always told me is like, you're not good enough. You're never going to amount to anything. You're a loser. And it was coming true. And so I'm in summer school and my summer school teacher comes up to me one afternoon. It was a Tuesday and Thursday night class at Shortridge High School. And he goes, we're done with you. We're just going to pass you. We want you the hell out of here. Here's your diploma. And I remember being like, wow, the juxtaposition of this is insane because I'm pretty sure that Mr. Bush just changed my life forever. And then this dude is just letting me skate by. I was like, oh, fuck, this is weird. And so they end up giving me a diploma. And it's later into that summer. I'm working a warehouse job and I'm taking microchips and I'm putting them into motherboards all day long for 12 hours. Microchip, motherboard. It was awful. It was the worst job, literally the worst job to this day I've ever had. And I got fired a month in. And we were working these crazy like 12-hour shifts, 4 days a week. And I got fired. And I was sitting in my car and I'm like, it's probably because I was stoned, right? Like that was the first thing. I was like, shit, they fired me because that's what happened. And I'm sitting in my car and I'm thinking to myself, what is the solution for poverty? What is the solution for abuse? What is the solution for homelessness? Like, what is the solution for all this chaos in my life? And I thought to myself, oh, it must be money. It's got to be money, right? It's the very thing that we didn't have growing up. It's the very thing that everyone argued and fought about. It's the very thing that I hustled my ass off to get. And I was like, it's money. And so as I'm sitting in the car, I made a declaration to myself. I said, by the time that I'm 21, I want to make $100,000 a year legally. And that legal part was super important because I have family in prison for life. I've been in handcuffs multiple times. And as of today, my 3 childhood best friends have been murdered. And so I knew the path I was going, guys. I knew if I didn't change it, I was screwed. And so because of that, I thought to myself, all right, I want to make $100,000 a year legally. I don't want to go to prison. I also need to make sure that I can do something that's going to make my life better. And so I started learning skills. And at 18 and a half, I ended up getting a job with a fast food restaurant with 52 people under me, learning leadership skills, loss, shrink, inventory, ordering, how to read a P&L. I mean, I was like a baby reading P&Ls and doing like really intense business stuff and leadership. And I started just making every mistake that you can possibly imagine. And if you remember where I started this a few minutes ago, I said life is about iteration. And in those mistakes, I kept learning and learning and learning. And eventually, I was in a position where I was prepared to go to the next level. One day I was chatting with a friend on MySpace. So I'll, I'll age myself a little bit here. And he's like, I just got a brand new Tahoe. And this is like 2005. I'm like, how the hell did you get a Tahoe? Because you're as dumb as I am. You went to my high school. You got stoned with me every single day. You're bullshitter like me. How did you get a Tahoe? And he's like, dude, I'm working for an insurance company. And my mind was completely blown because I didn't know that was possible. I didn't know that was a thing because I'd never seen that before. I'd never seen people work in these corporate jobs. And I was like, oh, that's it. That's my path to $100,000 a year legally. And so I started writing resumes. I started writing cover letters. I started doing all the things that it takes. And this whole time I'm thinking to myself, like, I'm going to make this happen. I'm going to make this happen. I'm going to make this happen. I had massive clarity on this goal. Massive. And the one thing that I teach my clients whenever they come into coaching with me is like, you've got to get clear about what you want. Why are you in the programs? Why are you reading the books? Why are you taking the courses? Why are you doing all these things? Because if you don't have massive clarity in your life, you're going to go nowhere. So I had clarity about this. I was like, I want to make $100,000 a year legally. I don't want to go to prison. I don't want to get murdered like my friends. I've done the work, and boom, I land a job with a Fortune 10 company. No high school diploma, no college education, and I start making that six figures. And that thing happens to me that happened to people when you get money for the first time, and it totally destroyed my life. And I found myself in this weird position where I'm like 26 years old. And in the theme of tonight's session, trying to figure out how to be the hero of my own story, right? If you've ever struggled, if you ever tried to figure out how to be the hero of your own story, just know that you're not alone. We all go through this because the only thing I had in my head was all these limiting beliefs. And I thought money was going to be the solution. If you've ever thought money was going to be the solution to your problems, just say yes. Type yes in the comments, share yes, raise your hand, comment. Just say yes if you ever thought money was going to be the solution to your problem. Yeah, I can see some yeses coming in. Because we're told that. We're like convinced that that's true. People are like, yo, you're going to make money and your life's going to be better. Your life's going to be everything you ever thought it was going to be. And so here I am having that idea in my head, and I'm 26 years old. And some of my friends who knew me at that age are on here right now. I was 350 pounds, smoking 2 packs a day, drinking myself to sleep. My life was fucking chaos because I was like, oh, I'm going to chase this money. I'm going to get this nice Cadillac. I'm going to date all these women. My life's going to be awesome. And I could not have been more miserable. Could not have been more miserable. It was a disaster. It was an absolute disaster. And I remember having this moment where it was after a concert. Me and my friends, we also used to go to these concerts. And I just got in this huge fight with the woman I was dating at the time. And it's right around my birthday. I'm going back home and I'm like irate and I'm drunk and I'm pissed off at the world and I'm mad at everybody. And I'm like, see, they were right. I'm never going to have love. I'm never going to have happiness. I'm never going to have any of these things. And so instead of like, I don't know, fucking going to therapy or having a conversation about it or journaling or meditating or any of those things, I just drank and got stoned and smoked cigarettes and ate more food and drank and got stoned and smoked more cigarettes and ate more food. And my life was miserable because of the choices that I was making. You see, part of the equation that is missing that people don't understand about creating the life that they want to have is that you have to take massive action every single day to create that life. Massive action. Like you've got to be willing to do shit you never dreamed you would do. And you have to commit and you have to follow through and you have to be willing to say, who am I? What do I want? And how do I get it? Because until you do that, nothing in your life is going to be different. And so at 26, heading into 26 years old, I put a gun in my mouth. I was just done. I was like, I thought money was going to solve these problems, right? Like so many of you in the chat, you wrote yes, you raised your hand, you said, yes, I thought money was going to solve my problems. You're never going to be able to solve your problems with money. Money is an asset, money is a tool, money is something that will help you along your journey, but it will not be the solution. It will just be a resource to find the solution. And I'm laying in bed the next day. It's 11 o'clock in the morning. Now, keep in mind, I'm like 350. I'm big. I'm in bed. I'm smoking a joint, eating chocolate cake, and watching the CrossFit games. Like, if that's not rock bottom, guys, I have no idea what is. And I had this moment where I got up and I went and I looked at myself in the bathroom mirror. And I remembered being 8 years old. And the water company had come and turned our water off. It was like this blistering hot Indiana summer day. And like, they had turned off the water before. They turned off the electricity. We'd been evicted more times than I can count. And on this one particular day, I go in the backyard. I grab this little blue bucket. I walk across the street to our neighbor's house. And for the first time, I stole water. And in that moment, I remember being like, when I'm a grown up, this will not be my life. And as I looked at myself in that mirror that day, I realized that I'd broken the promise I'd made to myself as a child. I realized I was not holding true to who I knew I could be. And in that, as I looked in the mirror, and I'll never understand why I did this, I asked myself, what are you willing to do to have the life that you want to have? And the answer was no excuses, just results. And that started to change everything. Because I realized that if you want to be the hero of your own story, you are going to have to get the fuck out of your own way. Type yes if you agree with that. If you're like, I got to get out of my own way to be the hero of my own story, type yes. Just put it in there because this is affirming the truth for you. If you write yes right now, you are affirming the truth that you know that if you want to be the hero of your own story, you have to get out of your own way. And that's everything. And in that moment, that's what I realized. And what I understood in that moment is it was actually me choosing to no longer negotiate with myself. Because all my friends, all my family, all the people in my life, they didn't understand that I was letting myself down every single day. I was placating myself to the world every single day. Why? Because again, think about this. When we're young and we go through abuse, it's not the abuse that changes us. It's the theft of our identity. And my identity was the thing I ever tried to do was be like everybody else, because when I was like everybody else, I was safe. And when I was like everybody else, I bent. And when I was like everybody else, I didn't have to worry about being me. You know, it's really funny because I mentioned this on a podcast recently. You know, we learn how to be other people because when we're other people, it gives us the community that we seek because we're so terrified to be ostracized. I know some people are going to not like this, but I'm going to tell you the truth. I hate country music. Like I hate country music in a way that like I cannot even explain to you. And I used to go to country music concerts with my friends because I thought that if I went with them that they would care about me, that they would like me, that they would love me, that they would see me as someone of character without recognizing like the irony in that. I was going to do this thing that I absolutely hate for love. And it didn't make sense. And today, if you called me, if you're like, hey man, I got front row tickets for, I don't know, country guy, I'd be like, sorry, I'm out. I'm not coming. Have fun. Enjoy it. I want you to take a moment and think about the times in your life where you have been who you are, where you have not been you for the sake of placating people around you to fit in, right? Is it drinking? Is it smoking? Is it like, what is that thing that you do? Is it football? right? I mean, there's so many different things. I'm not saying those things are good or bad. I'm just saying, like, ask yourself this question, like, are you bending who you are for the sake of fitting in? Because if you are bending who you are for the sake of fitting in, you have to understand that there's causation and correlation in that. You have to understand that there's a rhyme and reason. There's a purpose behind your brain saying, I have to fit in because I need safety. Because when I was young, if I didn't do everything it took to fit in, I was in danger. Does that make sense to you guys? Like, are you guys connecting the dots on this? I really hope that you are. I know that a ton of you guys are watching here on social media, on Discord, here on Instagram as well. I just want to make sure that this makes sense to you, because the reality is that we will bend ourselves, and you can no longer do that if you want to go to what's next. So as I'm sitting, I'm looking at my life. I'm 26 years old. I make this declaration. What are you willing to do to be the hero of your own story? What are you willing to do to have the life that you want to have? The answer being no excuses, just results. It led me down this path. I want you guys to think about these pivotal moments, these turning points in your life in which you have started to head down the path. For me, it was, all right, I'm going to quit smoking. I'm going to quit drinking. I'm going to quit partying all night. I'm going to take care of my physical body. I'm going to stop eating McDonald's every single day. They're gonna sue me one day, guys. Mark this: McDonald's are gonna sue me because I'm always shitting on them because their food is poison. Keep it real. Don't eat it. I'm just saying. And so, and so I just started taking these little steps, doing these little things, making these little shifts day by day by day by day. And what happened, which was really interesting, is I noticed that it was really, 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 really fucking hard. It was really hard. And for the next 3 years, 27, 28, 29 years old, it was like Atlas pushing this boulder. It was just this crazy experience of like just trying to like manipulate myself into creating who I thought I could be. And it was push and push and push, and I would fall down. God, I would fall down so many times. And guys, you're going to fall down. You're going to fall down. And it's the greatest thing that can happen. So many people are terrified of falling. So many people get stuck in this idea that if they fall, they have lost. And I want you to take the very first thing from this conversation, from our first Tuesday night coaching together. I want you to take this with you. If you have a pen, I want you to write this down, burn it into your brain, tattoo it on your arm. I don't give a shit where you put it. You need to understand the truth about failure. It is the greatest on planet Earth. Because without failure, you cannot iterate. Without failure, you cannot course correct. Without failure, you cannot make adjustments. If you continue to only ever win, you are not pushing yourself. And failure will teach you things about yourself that will change your life forever. And so in this 3 years, I'm just failing and failing and failing. It's like, good Lord. I was like, dude, what are you doing? You said no excuses, just results. And I was just like, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep just trying shit. Because that's what it was. That became the differentiating factor. That's the thing I think people need to truly understand about this journey is if you are willing to not give up on a long enough timeline, you can have everything that you want in your life. But we're so quick to give up the moment things don't go our way. Guys, nothing has ever been easy the first time not a single one of you have been successful at trying something the first time. Nobody is. And that's the thing I kept thinking to myself, like, man, I've been smoking since I was 13. What if I quit? I've been drinking since I was 13. What if I quit? I've been doing all this chaos, this monstrous shit for years. What if I just switch it up? You see, the thing is, we get so tied into certainty. The thing that I hate that trauma survivors say all the time, and I've been guilty of this too, is we say, oh, I thrive in chaos. That's fucking crazy. You should not be equipped to thrive in chaos. Yes, of course you should be able to, but that should not be your default setting. And so what happens is we're really good at thriving in chaos because we're certain in it. But when uncertainty comes up, right? When uncertainty comes up, it's terrifying. And for some of us, uncertainty could be compassion, love, grace, happiness, joy, community, right? Compassion can be, or excuse me, uncertainty can be so many different things. It could be a good relationship. It could be removing yourself from a job that you hate. It could be all these things, but we are so good in chaos and in the certainty of chaos, we don't choose to step into what's next for us. And as I was looking to my life, I made a decision. I said, I'm choosing to step into what's next for me. I'm going to do this for me, not for anybody else. And so the thing that you need to understand is as you begin to step onto the path for what's next, you've got to be willing to choose you. You've got to be willing to bet on yourself. You've got to be willing to go all in on you. Because I'm going to tell you a secret about life. If you don't believe in yourself, who will? And so as I started getting deeper into this, I started doing the work. I know a lot of you guys have done the work. I know there's many of you right now who have been my clients, who I've coached, who have helped through this journey. And I'm super proud of you for being here. And it's such a great emphasis on the thing that I always teach you guys, that this is a forever process. Just because you do a coaching session, just because you read a book, just because you go to a conference, does not mean that the work is done. And in fact, often it means the work is just beginning. So congratulate yourself for being here, because that matters, because it's important and it's incredible that you are here. So as I was in my early 30s, I'm doing all the work. I'm going to coaching. I'm going to personal development. I'm reading the books, podcasts. I'm diving deep into all the information. I'm in therapy like fucking 17 times a week. It's crazy. I'm going to men's therapy, men's group trauma therapy, CBT, EMDR, NLP. I'm doing all of the things. I'm literally doing everything, trying to figure out the pathway to healing, to be the hero. I was trying to figure out how to be the hero. How do you do this? How do you create the life that you want to have when everyone's only told you you're not going to have it? And it's by iteration. It's by the willingness to fail. It's by showing up again and again and again and investing in yourself. And look, the truth about this is I wish you could just listen to this and that your life would be great. I really true. I do. I wish that you could just be like, oh, I listened to Michael one time and my life is perfect. I never have to do this again. Fuck, I'd be a billionaire because I just charge everyone $100,000. You'd be fixed overnight. It'd be great. But that's not how life works. And the one thing I know to be true about how this works is you have to be willing to fail. And so as I was in all this therapy, all this coaching, all this education, learning and learning and learning, I just kept making more mistakes. And I realized like, wow, if I'm willing to show up and I'm willing to make these mistakes, then I'm learning. I'm learning. And that became one of the most powerful understandings of this journey for me, is that if I was willing to fail, that I would learn. And now heading into 37 years, almost a decade, over a decade of doing this work daily, day in and day out, learning, educating myself, coaching, traveling, speaking, the whole nine, I still fail. I still make mistakes. I still have to learn. I still am in iteration. I'm still taking samples. I'm still gathering data. I'm still in that rich stream of information about fucking up. But I found more than ever the willingness to do that. Because when you are willing to fail, my friends, I cannot express this enough. When you are willing to fail, you will discover more about who you are than if you do not try. And so many of us get stuck in the fear of trying. Again, guys, this is causation and correlation. There's always a rhyme and reason, right? We get stuck in not wanting to fail so desperately that we don't ever create change in our life. And for the first 26 years of my life, that was true. And now the only thing that I do is be willing to fail. There's a great book by John Maxwell called Failing Forward. And it really surmises this in a way that I can't. It's beautifully written. And the idea is just kind of what I laid out. The willingness to fail will project you to where you want to go. But that thing about trauma gets in the way. That thing about abuse gets in the way. It holds us back. It's that little whisper in your ear, right? It goes, are you sure? You sure you want to do this? You sure you want to try this? Are you sure you think you can handle it? Are you sure? Nah, you know what? I don't think you are. I don't think you should. You should quit now. You should give up. And that little voice pops in my head every damn day. And you know what I do? I turn it off. You see, you turn off that voice, that limiting belief in your head, that thing that holds you back. You know how you get rid of it? It's not therapy. It's not coaching. It's not journaling. It's not meditation. It's not walking in the park. It's none of those things. The way that you turn off that stupid ass voice in your head that says, nope, you're not good enough. You're not strong enough. You're not capable enough, is you go and do the thing that you know you need to do anyway. You have the courage, like many of you in this room right now, many of you listening to this, the people who show up as we head into the future, as we build this thing together, it is the courage to face the unknown despite being terrified that will shut that voice up. It is the courage to do that that will quiet the voice that tells you you can't. Because the only way you're going to discover that you can is by doing it. And I wish there was an easier way. I wish that it was just like, oh yeah, go sit down, write in your journal, and your life will be better. It doesn't work that way. At least I haven't discovered that. And, you know, perhaps there are people that will argue with me and tell me I'm wrong, and fine, so be it. I accept that. But I'm going to tell you right now, everything that I've ever built in my life, this journey of healing, writing best-selling books, having a top 50 podcast, coaching thousands of people around the world, helping people change their lives. Like literally, like it's crazy to me to get messages from people who are like, hey, that thing changed my life. That book changed my life. That coaching session changed my life. Is unbelievable. But it started because I was willing to do it for myself first. You see, the thing about this journey is you have to be willing to put yourself first. There's so much about this that you have to take, that I want you to take away. But the one thing about this, you put yourself first and you say, you know what? Today is about me and about what I need and about challenging the narrative that other people have embedded and groomed and enmeshed into me that I'm not good enough. You challenge that shit. You be courageous in addressing it. You look at it and go, what is the pathway? What do I need to do? Is it coaching? Is it therapy? Is it books? Is it podcasts? It's all of those things. But more importantly, it's doing the thing that you know you need to do. Learning your worth, dictating your value, and not settling for anything less, which at first is terrifying because for many of us, we've never done it before. We've never put ourselves in a situation to say, I'm choosing me. And when you choose you, the incredible thing that happens is you start to shift. And that shift is that instead of you bending yourself to the world that you have done for so long that you have no idea who you are, it's the shift that happens is the world starts to bend to you. And the way that that works is you start doing the thing. You stop making excuses. You start showing up. The greatest understanding of healing, and I try to teach this to people all the time, the greatest understanding, in my opinion, of what it means to have healed, to heal, to be healing, to be the hero of your own story, is to only do what you want to do and to never do what you don't want to do. Now, that doesn't mean you don't have to do like monotonous shit, because I promise you do. But it is saying that it's not about placating. It's not about bending. It's not about pretending you're someone else. It's about being you unapologetically. That inherent experience that you have within you that says, this is me, being the hero of your own story is about owning that and about the willingness to fail your way to who you are. My friends, I just want to say thank you for joining me on the very first Tuesday night coaching session. I want to, and we will in the future, take live questions, and you'll be able to raise your hands or leave chats and ask questions and all of those things. And I want to be able to grow this. So if you got any value out of this tonight, do me a favor and share this with your friends. Tell them to join all the different communities on Discord, on Instagram, wherever it is. Ask them to be a part of this and listen to the Think Unbroken podcast, because over there, we're creating daily content to help people get unstuck, let go of the past, and be the hero of their own story. And you can also pre-order the new book, Unbroken Man, which will come out in June if you just go to men.thinkunbroken.com. That's men, men.thinkunbroken.com. I've had a lot of people ask me if women can read this book too. Yeah, absolutely, 100%. In fact, the beginning of the book is dedicated to women. So you can go to men.thinkunbroken.com. It's called Unbroken Man, a man's guide to being the hero of their own story. And I want you guys to share this. I want you to invite people, because here's the truth. My mission and my goal is to end generational trauma in our lifetime through education and information. And this is not hubris, and I'm not trying to be facetious, but I believe that I am one of the best trauma coaches on planet fucking Earth. And I need your help to spread this to other people, because I'm only one person, right? And even though I can push and I can push and I can push, this is about community. And I believe in this community. I believe in the Unbroken Nation. I believe in all of us and our ability to create massive change in the world. And that's why I do this. You know, the clients that I've coached, the people who have come through my programs, like, they have seen massive and radical changes in their lives. So I'm not blowing smoke up your ass when I say this, because I've seen it time and time again. But most importantly, I'm a person that knows the truth, that you can be the hero of your own story. And so with that said, my friends, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for being a part of the Unbroken Nation. Thank you for showing up. We'll be back here on Tuesday night next week, 5 p.m. Mountain Time, or whatever time that is, wherever you are in the world. And we're going to go deep again, and we're going to set it up in advance. We'll get some questions. I know we got off to a little bit of a rocky start today, but I'm proud of you. Thank you all for the courage of being here today. And until next time, my friends, be unbroken. I'll see ya.